Hello and welcome to PM Express. My name is Nana Sakwa. As usually sat in the lounge of Alisa Hotel, then you know I'm in my element. But today I'm talking about something very important, something that I don't know if we have all neglected or if we have seen it and unable to tackle it. And it is about the ethics of advertising. Now, advertising is a powerful medium by which you can persuade, encourage, entice people, and also media houses make lots of money from that. And so it's big business. And when it's big business, then the big boys move in. But they are moving in with no legislation whatsoever. They're just coming in to cash and go. However, one powerful way of influencing people, especially the young ones, is through advertising, be it newspaper, billboards, or television. How are we regulating this? With me to discuss this issue is Francis Dazi, who's the Executive Director of Ghana Advertisers Association.
Advertising Association of Ghana.
Advertisers Association of Ghana. Francis is very passionate about this cause. And those of you who follow, that's my opinion. I did a show and I said there's a thin line between censorship and common sense. And I'm sure Francis is here to educate it. Francis, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a privilege to be on your show.
Thank you. Francis, advertising is such an important tool, if I may call it, in modern day world, this globalization, age of information, be it on the internet, billboard, newspapers, everything. But what's guiding us in what sort of adverts we place on TV, newspapers, or billboards, or even where we place our billboard? What's guiding us now?
Thank you very much, Nana. It's unfortunate to have to start by saying that the Advertising Association of Ghana has code and standard of ethics for its members.
Okay.
So if you're a member of the AAG, you are required to abide by the codes and standards. But in the general populace and the public, it is a free-for-all. Reason being that at the time we liberalized the airwaves in 1995, it was only one national station, and they had a vetting committee. We looked at adverts, vetted them before they were put on the national network. But after the liberalization of the airwaves, now every day there are new stations and media channels coming out. Very uncountable. But there was no policy regulation put in place to ensure that certain ethics and standards are complied with. So it's a field day for everyone. So what we have done, after being in this position for the past 15 years, is to try to put together an advertising council bill, or advertising bill, which seeks to regulate and legalize, put a certain law behind, an act of parliament behind an advertising council, which has a responsibility of licensing, examining, and sanctioning practitioners in advertising. We have a situation today where you can walk to any local authority or any radio station and give them a material for them to transmit on the channels, and nobody asks you any question. Your ability to pay is the order of the day, and that is why we're in this situation today. But advertising is a profession that you must have a certain level of background and knowledge and understanding. Now we are now in a global village. In this year, in November, the whole of advertising world is descending on Accra. We have an advertising conference, the International Advertising Association conference, we dub African Rising. So it means that advertising is not just a local thing, but we need to put our act together. But the fact that there was no regulation, it was a free-for-all. We have situations where media houses have set up their own in-house advertising agencies, going out there and soliciting for adverts from drug peddlers, from aphrodisiac producers, and all sorts of things, and they are put on the channels. Who checks them? Have any of us asked whether you have an FDA approval for this product, for this medicine, for this alcoholic beverage or non-alcoholic beverage? Have we checked? Those are the issues. And because of that vacuum, everybody is taking advantage. Even citing of billboards, we have standards that have been gazetted, which determines where billboards can be cited and cannot be cited. They're all being flooded by the local assemblies in the name of internally generated funds and money making. So that is what it is. But for us, we think that when this bill, which is now with the Ages Department, moves from the Ages Department to Cabinet, and then finally from Cabinet to Parliament, we have already sensitized our parliamentarians. In fact, the Select Committee on Local Government and Communication, they are buying into it. They are waiting for it. So we believe that that is the way we are. But then, until then, what do we do? It is the responsibility of media houses and owners. Because if you don't place it on your channel, who sees it?
Can you sue? I mean, can I turn on my TV, let's say 6:30, and see an advert and think, look, this is not right at this time, and therefore I'm going to sue this media? Would I have any legal backing to sue?
Yeah, you should have a legal backing, because the reason being that there are laws that says that we should not deceive the public. There are laws that are charlatan advertising and all. There are laws, but there are laws that are in the books, statute books. And the fact of the matter is that if you, Nana, put someone on your show who professes to provide curative solutions for people's problems, and as a result of your channel or your program, somebody goes to the fellow and is deceived, he has a right to take him to court, because you are the one who led him to work. Because if you didn't give that fellow the opportunity, he would not have that. So what I'm saying, that the only thing that this Fama Nyame syndrome of Ghanaians is letting people get away with everything. But we should have advocacy. People should be ready to come around to test it. And I, Francis Dazi, will provide every support and everything that for anyone who falls into that situation. Because I want to crusade that advertising is a noble profession. It gives people the choices they make. It must also add value to people's lives. But this deception that has been going on is just one too many. And we have situations where every alcoholic beverage are making suggestive posters, are using women. And I told somebody, they are using women because in my office every day, people are bringing their pictures that they are models, they want to model, they want to be an advert and things like that. So that is what it is. So tell the women advocates that people are not just using women, but the women themselves are chasing advertising agencies and media houses that they want to appear on adverts.
1995 to the liberation in 2014. I mean, that's a long time for a nation not to have any regulation on such an important medium of advertising.
I agree with you. But the fact of the matter is that in Nigeria, fortunately for them, in 1988, they had the Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria. And at that time, they had a military regime which was not anti-private sector. It was a forward-looking one, and so worked together with the Advertising Association there to put it in place. But unfortunately, ours was the other way around. So you couldn't even move towards any government or to ask the government of the day or the military regime to put these regulations, because everybody was running away. So it is after the Fourth Republic, when constitutional rule was restored, then they posted. But a process of getting a bill like this is not easy. Fortunately for us, it was only last year we got a funding from BUSAC to put this in place. And we want to say kudos for that. They gave us the funding to be able to put, you need to engage stakeholders. You know what it is like. And all these engagements and things like that cost a certain level of money. So even as an association, we pay dues, and that is it. So in putting up this project together, we had to do proposals, engage consultants and things like that to where we are. Because we feel that the future and the growth of this business and this industry is at stake. There are too many people who are having channels, and there are too many people who are even in the media and advertising media. They don't understand. There are a lot of radio station owners who are just pure businessmen. They are doing other things, and they've got a political link and got a channel, and they've opened a radio station, and they're just churning out chaff.
If I wanted to go to like an advertising, agency, should I go to one that's under your body, or not? No law regulates me to go to one that's, so I can just pick and choose as I please? Will this bill then say, look, listen, you need to go to a regulated body?
This bill will spell out that you need to go to a regulated member or a registered member of the profession, albeit like the Bar Association, the ICA, and things like that, the Ghana Institute of Architects and things like that. It's a similar thing, because if you go to someone who is not, registered or licensed to practice by the council. And at the end of the day, you take your end product, your ad, to a media house. The media house has a responsibility to check whether the one bringing the ad is a licensed practitioner. If the media house does not do that check and places it on its channel, it's flouted the law, and it has sanctions and a fine that it has to pay in the act. So the gatekeepers now become the media houses, who are always asking us that standard of advertising is falling. But you are sitting in your media house, you are sitting in your backyard, you take a camera and you go to town and you go and shoot these adverts for these guys, and then you come and put it on your channel, and you're asking me about standards. You are the gatekeeper, because if you don't put it on your channel, who's going to see it?
It's all about the money. Are there enough, good media advertising agencies out there churning out the good stuff? Because if there's a lack of it too, then and the media houses depend on this, literally for the houses to run.
What the problem of media houses with regards to using the advertising agencies and professional is the issue of payment. But over the period that I've been in here, the story has been that the agencies owe me, so I go and do it directly. But of course, it is a tripartite business. So if you're talking about standards, there are very good quality productions that are out here. We had a Gongo Awards which we are going to reintroduce this year, sometime around September, where we're going to award local creativity and initiative and ingenuity. We're going to do a peer review of adverts that have been produced locally and bring out the standing ones to encourage a lot of creativity. We need to also have a situation where we engage in training. We recognize that there's a little bit of, everybody goes and does some Photoshop and things and says he's a graphic designer, he can design adverts and all sort of things. So we have taken it upon ourselves that training is key, and it's important for us to engage in a lot of training activities for members or non-members, for the general public. You have a lot of young men, they're doing a lot of good stuff on the internet, but they lack some basic things. We need to bring their act together, we need to bring their game out, because the fact of the matter is that if somebody sees an advert, it is the uniqueness and the creativity behind it that should attract, because there's a lot of clutter. Because you have these situations where when it gets to adverts on certain channels, people switch off to other different things. They're changing because they want to listen to it, because there's nothing to write home about. It is boring, it is drab, you can just a copycat. There is no creativity. Advertising dwells on creativity and emotional attachment. It wants to engage you and not to sit down and watch it to the end. What is unique? What it is that catches your emotion with your brand?
Look forward to it coming back again.
Talk about it. What is it? What is the unique selling? What is so special about it? Then you will not get up. So let me watch this company's ad that is coming.
I'm going to take a break here, and then when I come back, we haven't got laws abiding us, but what about our morals and our conscience? The number of alcohol and gambling adverts on TV and radio, do we need it? Stay tuned. Well, hello and welcome back to this very important conversation, if I may say, and we're looking at the ethics within the advertising industry. And recently, the amount of alcohol being advertised on our airwaves. If we have a regulatory body, do we then reduce it or send it to late hours, or how then do we regulate it? Because it's like every 5 minutes, there's some young girls dancing, drinking, some bitters or some alcohol, drinks that, truck drivers used to drink back then, have now all been remodified and cocktailed wise and get the young girls in there. With an advertising body, what can you do with such a thing? Because the adverts are really nice, it's just that, it's a bit dangerous.
I think that we should have conscience. And what we should look at is that look beyond your generation. What are we doing to the younger generation that are coming? Today you'll find you're making some money out of the alcohol that you are advertising. I'm not saying it's not, but they are people's choices. Advertising gives choices to people. It's this, we call it freedom of commercial speech. Give the people the choices. But we're talking about a time in which these are telling us. Convention is that after 10 p.m. for alcoholic beverages to be advertised. Before 10 p.m., not on any network around the world. That is the global trend. But you have situations where people and some international multinational companies cannot do that in their home countries. But because even backyard Nigeria, you can't do that.
Really?
Yes. APCON will come after you. They have the power, they have the clout, they have the powers of a high court. So you cannot do that. So backyard Nigeria, our brothers, they can do that. They are very organized there, but when we come here, it's a free-for-all. Because the media house, like I said, the owners of media sees as a business. But what they fail to realize is that we are destroying a certain generation. Because my generation did not have that because, like I said, we had only GTV and you will not get it that way. They will place it at a certain time bar. So what we're saying is that we have a moral right. That is not just speaking to our children and telling them don't do this, don't do that. We also have a responsibility as channel owners to also put in place certain measures. And just not saying the money, 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 because our children and our grandchildren will come and pay the price for it.
Especially one that breaks my heart is especially when they use football stars to advertise alcohol. So there's an 8-year-old,
very unethical.
An 8-year-old child who so admires this person, and then he sees him with a bottle of alcoholic drink. That
is an affront, because you can do it in any other country. That's why I continue to say it's an art form, and on that alcoholic company to do that here. It's an art form. You sportsmen are not supposed to be near alcoholic beverage. It's not done anywhere. Sportsmen and women are not supposed to advertise alcohol. Clear, black and white. European advertising standard is there, but it's happening here because there are local people who are running these campaigns, and they think that they can just get away with it because there is nobody watching the world. Nobody's watching. So it is our responsibility as advocates to talk about these things.
Francis, these big boys, don't you think they will go back door and make sure your bill doesn't get passed? Because they have a multi-million-dollar industry, and you're going to kill it.
It is not only here. If it is like we're not reinventing anything.
No.
We have cited examples. We have the South African Advertising Standards Authority. With Nigeria, we have Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria. So it is happening across. So it's only that nobody has taken the leadership and the initiative, and which we are proud to do that for our country and our people. Because we are in this business for life. That is why we live in. And it should not be destroyed. It is a regulated industry. We have a situation where in Europe and other countries, they dwell much on self-regulation. They dwell on self-regulation because in their psyche, you need to be registered properly before you do advertising. So they all belong to the association, and so you can just go out there and do anything you want. So it's part of their fabric and upbringing to protect consumers, to protect themselves. So that is what is happening. But in our situation, where everything is free for all, there is a need for us to put this in place before it gets too late, because it is getting out of hand. And so we've taken the initiative. We have engaged, yes, but they themselves know that in the long run, if the industry is destroyed, they will not have any future business here. So it is in their interest to do the right thing. They are doing it in other countries and they're still making their money. So what is the problem? Tobacco advertising has been banned over all the places there. It's not being advertised anywhere. But they are still finding a way of getting to the people. That is fine. But we are not saying that. We're saying that you cannot use our traditional medium and channels to reach out to a certain kind of people.
The reason why I'm saying they'll fight against is if you look at alcohol intake, if you look at proportions, the amount of wealth in the country, the population in the country to some of the big countries, we are maybe amount-wise not, but percentage-wise we are really up there with the big boys in terms of how much alcohol we consume. And that could be this constant reminder that drink, drink, drink and make merry. So they would want to, block your path so that they can, do their free-for-all adverts.
Well, that is why in this day and time we have an enlightened populace. enlightened in the sense that we have all sort of mediums for us to Google and check what is happening in other places. I mean, we have situations where public outcry, civil society organizations gang up together. This tobacco bill, there was also, they were selling tobacco and things all over the place. Where are they today? You understand? It is the same public outcry and advocacy that were able to get these regulations in place, because it's happening in other places. Why not here? So as to that, they will try. It happens everywhere in the world. That's the situation.
Let me pick you up on public outcry, because my next thing was leading to is education, so that the consumer helps you in the fact that, no, I don't want to consume what you are giving me. But I've spoken to some people who don't see anything. I mean, what's the big fuss? I mean, even the music videos, I don't know if that will fall under advertising, but if it does, I mean, everybody in there has to be half naked. Even though the song has got nothing to do with nudity, all the dances have to be, does it come under advertising, or that goes under filming?
It's under filming.
So that censorship is okay, so that's a different thing. Okay, but education with regards to advert, how do we, do an education so that the consumer detests what is coming, rather than you fighting, the producer?
No, basically, we need to engage like we're doing now. To have a lot of, I've been on a lot of networks prior to this bill to do a lot of public sensitization. I mean, when you see that we also need to have a hotline for our consumers to be able to call in and then to support whatever you are doing. Because I've had situations where I've been onto a lot of media channels, interviews, and a lot of calls that are coming to support this cause. Because there are people that are worried, there are parents that are worried about what is going on. Because look, now you are here. What time are you going to get home? From here. You got to age. What have you shown to your children? What have you shown to your children? Those are the things. So it's a concern for society. I mean, are you telling me that the kind of situations of robberies, young people at the age of 18 and 15, and what is it that have been attracting them, all some of these things? It is because they desire to get rich quick. They desire to use certain products and things which they have not. They are holding sophisticated phones and iPads and iPhones and all sorts of things. People want to get there, and it's because of some of these things and associating it with affluence. There are a lot of raffles, a lot of things that are being done for people to get cheese that they cannot afford, and people are forgetting that if you win a raffle for a car, you need to buy fuel into it. Where is that going to come from? So these are some of the things. So these are some of the issues that come out there. And so
gambling as well has started popping up on our screens, and that, I think, is also heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking. It is like an easy way out of life. But the people in the European countries, they still have the paupers and they still have the people sleeping by the roadside, isn't it? They have all sort of gambling opportunities and lotteries and things, and they still have people sleeping in cars outside. Is that not so? There are people on the street there. So it's a level of deception. Advertising must be truthful. But we're having a situation of deceiving people, and we have situations where people are churning an advert that try to portray that all men are, in terms of performance, impotent. So we should all go for alcoholic beverage. I've said, I'm not.
Exactly.
You understand? So that is deception. That is suggestive of unity. It's deception. So those adverts are just deceiving the public. And you have a situation where some gullible minds will go in for that because of the advert. There are a lot of people who have passed on because they took certain medicinal aphrodisiacs and things. Their kidneys are all failing, and because of that, we're killing our people. Alcohol is not all that it takes. It is not. There's some of us who have never drunk alcohol before.
I mean, would you propose a total ban? Because for the amount of alcohol we consume in this country, surely we don't need to advertise it. If any advertising, it should be advertising against consumption and not for. I mean, 30 million liters of alcohol as of 2004. So God knows 10 years down the line how much we are consuming.
It's quadrupled because we are glorifying the intake, and we're not telling like we did to. We should be able to have a campaign that looks at it as we did to cigarettes and things like that. But we, like you said, there's $1 million business, and so people are now advocating that we should drink responsibly and above 18. Who's going to determine who's above 18? And how responsible should people be?
You know, and
those are the issues.
And that's not within your jurisdiction, but we live in a society where all you have to tell the barman is that my father says I should come and buy a bottle of beer or a glass of gin, and the barman will serve it, you know, regardless of their age. You know, so that on top of the influence is really bad, and I think you have a big fight on your hands.
No, we do. I don't have a big fight. We all are the people of this country. That in our old age, if we're not careful, we'll not have our children around us because of these things. So it's a responsibility for everybody, including the cameraman who's standing behind the camera. Your responsibility, including the producer of this program, including the owners of the station. It is our responsibility. If we are concerned, then let's begin to put in place programs that will educate the public on these dangers. That's our responsibility.
I mean, I know money has been the big excuse. You know, we need to make money. But what, being that we're a society who profess so much morality and stuff like that, where did the breakdown come?
The breakdown came from, in my opinion, politics. Why do I say so? Because we have a situation where I have a colleague, we are all in a classroom. The next time he finds himself in a certain political position, he's metamorphosed and transformed into a V8 and coming back to the village, and I'm still out there. What do you expect? Our politics was started on a wrong footing because we should have made sure that we put in people who have achieved something. Evidence of achievement.
Track
record of achievement. To change things. Ability to change. We need change people. Change managers. To be put in these positions. But it's the other way around. He's my brother, he's my cousin, is this less support him to go in there? And that is what it is. So he comes and then he moves from where he's living with me. He comes to stay, he's provided an airport residential, a government bungalow, he's provided a police guard and everything there. So what are we talking about?
Well, hello and welcome back. And talking to the Executive Director of Advertising Association of Ghana. We're looking at ethics in advertising. Just before we went on a break, Francis, I just wanted to find out, we are so religious as a people, and the churches seem to have the more money to buy, the more airtimes. And some of the things they say, I mean, I don't want to challenge anybody's beliefs, but I think it's one of those things that you have to be kept to yourself. Things like come and buy a handkerchief and go and woo that girl, or come and buy this chalk and go and boost your business. It may work, but I don't think it's for public consumption. You know, keep it in-house. What would a bill like this do in addressing such a thing?
I mean, the bill would have to sensitize and educate them. Honestly, some of them do not know. Their level of education and understanding of these things is not that high. So I think there is a responsibility for them to be educated and sensitized that these things are allowed by both international convention and our own human endeavors and conscience and morality. That's not allowed.
But then it's faith. So I believe that this handkerchief would help me go and woo that girl. So it became difficult for somebody.
There's a level of responsibility. So therefore, we need to educate them to understand that if this is a claim that you're making, the claim must be substantiated. If he goes well, I'm saying, so if he goes and it does not work, so in the first place, you will not even be allowed to advertise. You are not supposed to advertise it.
No.
Because advertising, you should be ready to substantiate. It's part of the ethics that I'll give you a document you can go and read to. You can see the details that you should be able to substantiate, even medical claims. And even there are some ailments that you cannot advertise a cure for because it can only be managed. You cannot cure them. It's all spelled out there. So all sort of ailments that people are professing to be cured.
Diabetes and
they are just deception. And if you break the law, you can be jailed for that.
I'm particularly concerned because I mean, like now, apart from the prophets who are coming up, there are the fetish priests who don't want to be left out as well. So they've also bought airtime, and they are also saying, look, whatever the issue is, come, I will solve it.
That's why I'm saying that let's take this opportunity to educate our channel owners, our media houses. The bill would sanction you. It is not, I mean, this is giving some powers and teeth. This is not like a normal media issue. You understand? So this is about people's life. So the law courts are there to enforce it, to ensure that sanctions are taken against you. So the media house now becomes the gatekeeper to be careful what you are allowed to be put on your channel. Because the man, if you don't go and ask your sales rep to go and certain targets, and so he goes to convince this man to come on the network because the sales rep has to meet your target, financial target. Apart from that, what else?
So in that case, with faith-based businesses, would you then limit it to say just advertise, look, come to this church or come to that church, rather than we do A, B, C, D?
Of course, that is what it's just to provide information to them and let them come, and then when they have an experience. What people are failing to realize is that advertising kills bad business and bad services. So people are not realizing that you can be out there when someone, word of mouth communication has always and continues to be, referrals have continued to be the number one effective means of advertising. People don't realize it. Experiential. So that's why these days you have situations where, because of the clutter on channels, a lot of organizations are now engaging the public, doing a lot of outdoor and activating events. Because the experience is what will make him carry on to bring in someone else. So if you come and you deceive one person, it spreads like wildfire. I'm sure you're aware. We have situations where there are churches that have come and claim a lot of, and they've all collapsed after 10 years, 15 years down the where you can find them. So that is what it is.
Having read through the bill, and I just want to, like a yes or no, that if I was, Prophet Nanan Sakwa, and now this bill comes into law and I need to advertise my Nanan Sakwa spiritual church, do I just say, look, on Thursdays come to Nanan spiritual church, or can I go further to say the things we do there?
Nana, you on your own will not be allowed to advertise. You have to go to a licensed or registered practitioner,
and they
must sign up. So you, Nana, will not be allowed to advertise anywhere. Unlike today, when you can walk in there and go, but you cannot do that anymore. So you have to go to a registered practitioner who will sign off.
Oh, I see. And then
this be your advert. So he is held responsible for the content as well. So he has to advise you. No, you can't put this by the standard. You can't put this. If he signs off with his registration number and things like that, he is held responsible.
He becomes liable.
That's not going to work.
Well, that's a good one, because I was just wondering, how do we manage to streamline it? But then if
so even in the media houses, they also have to have their client service officers have to pen their license, because they have to clear those adverts. So if the client service guy who has been registered with an advertising council with his license has to put on it that he sanctioned this to go on, you understand? Because he's done all the due diligence and checks, and it conforms to the standard. That's what it is.
So training wise, how is there going to be training for this new crop of good advertising company?
Oh yes, we've even started it. I mean, we are training people on the new media and the new things so we run regular training programs. Every quarter we run training. We just finished one of, we're looking at the digital advertising, where we had about 50 participants trying to look at the new media that is coming, the iPads, the iPhones and all that, and Facebook, Google, and all those things, because they're all coming up and people are using them. The young ones are using them. So how to address them, how to be creative in that area, and how to churn out what can sustain people interest.
The challenge on e-advertising is that it could be from different sources. Have you got any provisions to tackle that, or
that
becomes
challenge,
difficult?
But of course that is why we need an effective monitoring system through the NCAs and other things to make sure that we're able to pull down, because there's a network of regulators that we'll be able to pull down and trace where the sources are getting through, because some of these Facebook are, they're not responsible. So you say, look, we've seen this material, it is not right, and then they'll pull it out.
Okay.
But these days you're on Facebook, there are all sorts of people trying to post, I want to be your friend and things, and they are pulled down immediately when they realize that it's offensive.
Finally, billboards.
Yes.
How are we going to get the local authorities to accept? Because it's just a menace.
That is a very tall order. But thankfully, today we had a meeting with a group of stakeholders, National Road Safety, Ghana Highway Authority, the Urban Rules, Consumer Safety, the Ghana Police, where we are drawing up a program to go down to town, because we have realized that the assemblies, because of the revenue bit of it, are not bulging. And so we have to take it from a public safety and road safety angle. That we'll go down to town and go and clear a lot of this from the junction in the name of public safety. So because we realize that, so the Ghana Highway Authority has been given the responsibility to lead this crusade. So on the highways and things, we're going to clear all these bus junctions and then move into the city centers with all these stakeholders and collaborators to protect them, because it looks like assemblies, they are not, because they take their decision for a year, so he's taking the money from the guy. What do you do? So he cannot morally go, but if a high authority or the other high authority, who are by law the owners of the road, you see, the thing is that the Assemblies Act 462 says that before you mount any structure, you must seek permission from the planning authority and other things. But the fact of the matter is that the road infrastructure does not belong to you. It's not like you are building your house. You need to acquire the land from Nana. And make sure Nana has given you title deeds and things before you go to the assembly for a permit to pull it. But this is not happening. That is the problem. The road belongs to the road agencies. So you need to seek permission from the road agency as to where you can position before you go to the assembly. But it's the other way around now.
They're going to the assembly to get the permit.
Thank you. That's what it's happening. So it's going to be corrected now. Because the High Court ruling has ruled on it. Because of the situation at Tetekwashi, where somebody wanted to build a 40 by 70 meter billboard in Tetekwashi. The Ghana Highway Authority stopped the fellow. The fellow went to court for an injunction. And the judge ruled that the Highway Act, the road belongs to the road authorities, not the assembly. So the fact that the highway passes through the Cape Coast town to Takari doesn't mean that it belongs to the assembly. It belongs to the road agency.
Well, Francis, thank you very much for this education, and I hope, guys, it's a serious thing, and you, the consumer, must reject what's coming in, because the most important thing you said is that not our generation, but the ones behind us. Let us leave a good and sanitized and moral society for posterity, so at least they give us a good name. Francis, thank you very much for coming. And folks, as I say, tomorrow we'll be back to do it all over again. Thanks for watching.